This morning on The Blend, we are joined by Tyler and Anders Prey from the Prey Funeral Home. Gentlemen, good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Anders, I want to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at the funeral home?
Well, at the funeral home, I'm the bookkeeper, and I helped out at my Grandpa Denny's funeral as the bookkeeper. And what the bookkeeper does, the bookkeeper says name and address to anyone who comes in.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, Anders, what do you think the other kids need to understand about going to a funeral home? Like, I think sometimes they might be scared to go.
Well, other kids need to understand that the loved one isn't actually asleep. They have to understand that the loved one has actually died. And they might see their parents crying, laughter, and happiness because they haven't seen relatives that they haven't seen in a long time.
I think it's good for, like Anders said, when children are at the funeral home, it's good to include them in the process. So like you mentioned, he made sure everyone signed the register book at his grandpa's funeral. And it's kind of nice to give them almost like a little task or a way to be included and to do something.
Right.
Anders, tell them about what you did when we took care of Francis Flaherty's funeral.
Well, at Francis Flaherty's funeral, I was at the airport to bring him back to Charlotte, and I was also at the cemetery placing flags in the ground.
Francis Flaherty was a veteran who had perished in Pearl Harbor and was identified just a few years ago, brought here to Charlotte and laid to rest. And Anders was right alongside us as we did all that.
Wow. Wow.
Love that.
Powerful.
And Tyler, talk a little bit about some of the resources
Sure.
that are available for children, because death is a real thing, and children are going to experience it.
Definitely. Right here in Lansing, we have Ellies Place, which is an amazing place. And they're open to all kids who have all sorts of complicated grief, regular grief, and we refer a lot of families to them.
Yeah, yeah. And young adults, they have programs for young adults now as
Definitely.
well, and it's all free services. Our community supports Ellies Place.
Yep.
And how do you normalize death for people?
I think, well, especially for kids like we're talking today, I think it's really important, like I said, just to make sure that they're there. A lot of people decide, well, I shouldn't bring them because it could be too hard. But it's important that they're there.
Yeah.
They're part of the family. They're experiencing loss too.
And speaking of family, Prey Funeral Home is a family funeral home, right?
right.
In Charlotte. But your grandpa started it, your dad,
My great-great-grandpa started.
Great-great-grandpa. Oh my gosh.
I'm 5.
Wow.
If he were to do it, he'd be 6.
Wow. Prey Funeral Home right there in Charlotte. You can go to preyfuneral.com for more information. Anders, thank you for being here today. Tyler, great to see you.
Good to see you.